Good afternoon, my name is Luca Balzano and today I will talk about the human right to education. According to the Bourgeon Project, more than 72 million children of primary education age do not attend school, and 759 million adults are illiterate. There are 37.3 million people currently living in Tokyo, Japan, and 32.1 million people currently living in Delhi, India. If I added the two numbers, there would still be a missing 2.6 million people to get the total number of children that are not in primary school. Thus, if you care about the future of children, you should certainly care about the human right to education. While it will be extremely hard, the future of humanity depends on humans unifying and fighting for the base of any nation, the human right to education. In this speech, I will describe the poor conditions of education in Niger, Sub-Saharan Africa, Asia, and in Afghanistan, dragging your attention to why this happens and urge you to act and be part of the solution to this problem. Before we begin, there are some terms that need to be defined. The key point for understanding the definition and importance of education is that, as established in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, everyone has the right to education, which is not protected directly or indirectly in many countries. An example of this is what happens in Niger, a country where 83% of women between the ages of 15 and 24 are illiterate. The historical background to this violation of the human rights to education is based on inadequate access to schools, among many other problems. A modern instance of example is addressed in the article by Euronews. The established is that, according to Burhan Chakran, the Director of Policies and Systems of Education at UNESCO, by 2030, Niger will need more than double the amount of primary school teachers to keep up with the population growth, showing the emergency for a stable education system. Briefly, knowing the current scenario is one where many countries like Niger might require our attention, we need to come together and work to make a change. One thing that is important to mention about the human right to education is knowing many regions of the world pass through really hard conditions of education, mainly because of a lack of access. An example is that the Sub-Saharan has a rate of 11.07 million children that leave school before completing their primary education, reaching 13.54 million in South and West Asia. This example matters much because it shows that the key base of the next generation is being broken, especially because of a deficiency of access to institutions. This way, those children will always have their future harmed by the lack of it. To summarize, the human right to education must be instigated, also making access to it easy. Though it seems strange to say, some disagree that the human right to education should be for women too. As the Taliban seized power in Afghanistan in 2021, secondary education for girls has been banned in the territory. Still, we can view the Taliban opposition as totally incorrect, since the human right to education must be provided considering only merit. Taliban's explanation based on religion can be easily deconstructed, as even Afghanistan Islamic clerics called to reconsider the decision of the group. Hibatullah Akhundzada, the leader of the called Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, has remained silent even though lots of demands to retire his ban. While these poor little children keep suffering without being able to do anything. Thus, although the battle for girls' right in education is a long conflict being battled for many years, we cannot give up. After hearing all this information about the human right to education, you may be wondering how can you help? So, one way to do it is by sending simple classroom supplies, such as pens and notebooks. Nevertheless, students can also help by motivating their classmates since many children drop out of school for having a better way to spend their time, such as working. As UNESCO, the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization affirms, helping peers to stay motivated and focused in school can go a long way in ensuring individuals' right to education. So, there are many ways to help enforce the human right to education, and even the smallest ones make a difference. This completes my discussion of the human rights violation of banning education based on gender and not providing good access to schools. As a reminder, the violation of the human right to education happens nowadays everywhere, including Niger, Sub-Saharan Asia, and Afghanistan. Consequently, the human right to education must be protected in every country, as it is the foundation of its future. Education shall be promoted, instigated, and embraced. 72 million children of primary education age do not attend school, which is unacceptable for modern humanity. After all, I hope you have enjoyed my presentation and amplified your knowledge about the human right to education. Thank you so much for your time, and I wish you have a great day.